Oh, yeah. Hit it. Live, deep in the avenues, it's the DammitJim Show. With your distractor-in-chief, Sideshow Todd. That's me. We got a great show for you today. We're going to cover all kinds of great subjects. We're going to start out with Scaramucci, our new communication person. Continue right on with the Trumpster dump fire that is the current administration. Roll into some 21st century dating observations. Hit some sports and some science. So we got a pretty solid show for you. And with that being said, here's Jim.
Hello, everybody. All right, everybody. Welcome.
So what's on your mind today, my friend?
Well, I got to start with this Scaramucci guy.
Yeah,
because,
right.
This guy is one of the most interesting characters we've seen in the whole
Trump administration.
I don't know what you call this.
That says a lot, too.
Greek tragedy,
right?
we call it government.
Dumpster fire? Yeah.
Dumpster fires. Okay, so this guy has come out. And, when I saw a thing and I saw that Sean Spicer is adamantly against this guy. And, of course, our knee-jerk
Spicer was against him?
Spicer was. That's why he resigned.
Because he was to become his boss.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right, as the communication director. So Spicer's like, fuck that.
As soon as he got hired, he quit. And one would hope that he was looking for a reason to quit.
Spicer quit. That's incredible.
Yeah, well, you knew day one this guy was not going to last. We've seen enough.
I thought it was, I don't know, but he seemed to fit the administration perfectly. He was exactly the kind of imbecile that they needed.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We'll get back to him in a second. Yeah. But I want to talk about this Scaramucci character because he makes me a little bit energized and a little bit nervous because this guy's good. He's really smooth. I watched him on camera. I watched him answer questions. I watched the way he handled information.
Energized.
Yeah, he's most of the characters we've seen roll out, other than I think Rex Tillerson, who's only seemed like he sort of seems comfortable in his role, everyone else has just seemed awkward and,
completely unqualified.
Unqualified, not professional, just sort of making
no business being there. Yeah.
Exactly. But this guy gets in front of the camera. He says, he does his press conference. He handles himself really, really well, which is, that could be a double-edged sword. But here's what's amazing.
Yes.
If you've had a chance to read his tweets that he deleted, he made it actually in the spirit of transparency, he told us he was going to delete all his tweets. And he deleted them. Of course, they still have records of them because they're tweets. Right. And if you go down him, this guy's pro-choice. He's pro-gun control.
Yep.
He's essentially, what was the other one that... he's Hillary Clinton in a lot of ways. He is his philosophy. He's climate change.
Yes.
He's like, that's definitely happening.
Yep.
And he kind of went into the gun control thing. Like, we have more guns than, we have 5% of the population and 50% of the guns in the world. That's way too many.
Yes.
This guy has nothing. His base, his philosophies have nothing to do with the GOP platform. Certainly nothing to do with Trump. He called Trump a hack during the election, and he apologized for it 50 times and said it was just because he was a political amateur.
Yeah, yeah.
But he even said the one, and this is the one that you keyed on. You want to tell us his quote from the news conference that really?
Here's what cinches it for me. That I appreciate your positive attitude, but here's where it cinches for me. He's a giant fucking douchebag. He goes, "Let me tell you what I really hate about Washington." This is a direct quote. "We have this political purity test on policy. So if I'm for something and then I'm against something, then all of a sudden I'm a hypocrite." well, yeah, no shit, asshole.
What's the definition of hypocrite?
Come on. But the thing is, that's the kind of narrative they've been selling all along. Like, even it's an obvious, truth, but it's okay that it's completely shitty and wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well,
and the outrage that we're all feeling is we're the ones with the problem.
Yeah, we're the ones that don't.
Even though he's truly a hypocrite.
Well, here's the thing that like I said, I'm not saying he's not a complete raging douchebag. I'm saying that the fact that he holds all the positions that he does, and now he's taken over the position with the Trump administration, if he doesn't immediately completely turn the administration in a new direction.
But how does he do it? He's the mouthpiece.
No, my point is, the only answer to that is you completely sold out. You changed your
Of course
position.
he's a hedge fund manager
to get this
so
job.
That's
Obviously,
like their job.
Or did all of a sudden you discover that global warming was fake, or that that abortion is that women shouldn't have the choice, that's a right that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You go down the line. I mean, he basically has to reverse himself on major policy issues,
Right.
Or has to say, well, I don't agree with it, but I'm going to serve my president and push his agenda.
That's pretty much what he said.
But
Like, all my views are subservient to Bush's. Like, I'm here to further their agenda regardless of what I believe.
Trump's.
Whatever.
So
So that's a minor Freudian slipper. They all fit in the same category, essentially. So,
well, you do. I'm definitely mission W now, but this guy he's a guy that we got to pay attention to, because, like I said, he's way smoother than I thought. I expected to be another Wall Street jackass that just comes out and just full of bravado and cowboy bullshit, and just thinks he can just do whatever he wants because he's in power, which is kind of like the way they think that their base is going to respond to. Put
but
some
he
boot
said
to
the
ass
exact same thing that a hypocrite says, and said he's not a hypocrite. That falls into all of those categories of things that you just said.
It was an interesting statement from him, but the way he delivered it was smooth. And I tell you what it told me was like, no. What he was trying to say, and I think he's going to play off this naivete, is, listen, if I get more information, I should be able to change my mind. That's one of the problems in Washington.
That's what an intelligent human being does, but that's not politics.
But that's not what he said.
Right.
He says, if I change my mind, then I'm a hypocrite. Well, you are, because people vote for you they're assuming that when you make these statements in the political arena or in the national media, that you have already done your due diligence, that you have actually come to this position through, it's not like when you were in college, you were a socialist, and now that you're 50, you're like, that's just completely stupid. You can, because Hillary was a Republican, a young Republican when she was
the Republicans were a very different party in 19.
It's true, and she's probably
or whatever it was.
Her views have probably changed less than the party has shifted.
She's centrist,
but
no one should think that the Clintons are progressive. They never were.
No. They created the New Democrat, which basically started adopting,
ruined the fucking party.
On we go.
But anyway, that's
all right. So I think that this marriage, you got to pay attention to this guy. We need to listen to him more. But I'm thinking we need to either be very excited or very scared. We don't know which. We'll see what happens. I'm sure Trump will find a way to just undermine him and screw this up, because nobody lasts.
I don't know what the other thing he said that I focused on that scared me is, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is how I believe everything the president says is honest. That statement is scary on a variety of levels. Well, one of those levels is the point you're about to hit on, right? That it's a word salad, right? That he's thrown out there to say that he's not being truthful, but he's being honest.
Right. Yeah. It's a really and that's why I said he scares me, because he's saying he's being honest. Well, that means at the moment, Trump really believes whatever he's saying. Like, he lives in the moment. Whoever spoke to him last seems to have a major amount of influence.
He's like a 5-year-old.
He's like a 5-year-old.
Whoever spoke to him recently has current.
He just repeats what he just heard.
We brought in Big Bird. We would be building nuclear missiles with Big Bird on the side of it.
The drunk uncle was dropping a bunch of F-bombs. Next thing you know, the 5-year-old's like, fuckity, fuck. He's kind of like that. So he is honest, but he didn't say truthful, and then I think that was a really interesting.
That's the sad part of the narrative, that you have to they'll use that narrative. They'll use that very delineation in some sort of when things are. They're already pretty bad with Russia, with the whole now he's really coming out adamantly again and saying that he does not believe that Russia tampered with the election, when every major spy agency and law agency in the United States is coming out unequivocally saying, yes, they did.
Right.
And, and then every bipartisan look into the Russian thing finds that Russia did indeed, in Congress, touch and try and influence the election. Right. And it's becoming more clear every day that people in your administration knew this was going on or had an inkling and were being let in by the Russians that this was they were trying to help you. And that you're coming out and saying none of that's true. Like, you somehow have the unadulterated version of the truth.
Right. Well, here's an interesting, thing about Trump that I think is going to come out. His finances are coming under scrutiny.
That's what he's really scared about.
And he's really scared about this. And I read an article.
He's like, I'll pardon everybody.
Well, he apparently, and this I'm going to speak generally because I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the financial details. We're waiting to see what they say. But this is what a couple of articles that I read in the Post, and I don't even want to click. I don't want to claim the Post because I can't cite them at the moment. But here's what they came down to: is Trump could not get money from banks in the States because nobody trusted him. People that knew him didn't trust him.
Right.
So
and
he started
tens of millions of dollars his father gave him wasn't enough, I guess.
No. He had 4 bankruptcies along the way, and but
he's an average guy, Jim.
He's just an average guy trying to do an average job.
He's just an average feller.
And but the thing that's going to come up with his finances is he had to get his money for a lot of these projects from somewhere, and the rumor that we're waiting to see if it's going to come out and what it's going to provide is where did that money come from? Did it come from Russian
oligarchs, perhaps?
Perhaps,
maybe,
and that's why there's so much smoke. Now we don't know any of this for sure, obviously.
Tell you what, that Russian lawyer was pretty fucking hot. I took a meeting with her. He didn't even take the right angle. He played his same misogynistic angle he plays all the time.
If Don Jr. would have said, "I took the meeting because the
hot Russian lawyer," like, duh, we're all going to take that meeting. Then I'm like, okay, fine.
And it would have fit in the whole misogynistic. At least that way you're sticking with your platform. You're staying on message.
Yeah.
You're staying consistent, right?
They totally played it wrong. It's embarrassing.
What do you think I'm going to do?
Yeah, like, did you guys see this chick? I mean, like,
come on.
She speaks Russian.
I don't care what she wanted to talk about.
Right?
Exactly.
I want to find out.
We can talk about pickle pear recipes. I don't care as long as she's going to be in the room. So that would have been a much better defense than the one that he put out there. But I think what's really interesting is if Mueller gets fired by Trump, that's going to be.
There's no way he can do that.
Well, I think that's going to lead to. If that doesn't directly lead to an impeachment, it's going to get him awfully close.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and if
it's
2018
difficult to say
comes,
he's not obstructing justice when he fires, FBI chief, and then he fires special
prosecutor, and whose only job is to look into the Russian investigation. That's it.
That's the only reason he's there.
Yeah. So otherwise, the guy fucking retired.
Yeah.
He came out of retirement just to do this.
Mm-hmm. And this whole thing that he can pardon himself, whatever, that's going to be a very difficult road for him to hoe because they came up with a memo from the Kenneth Starr investigation that explicitly, that Justice Department determined that he absolutely can't pardon himself.
Right.
The idea that you can be the judge in your own trial
is impossible.
It's difficult to marry with the the spirit of the Constitution, even if it's not expressly. But then there's something. I'm not a legal scholar, so I won't get into it. There is a debate there, but it's a tough one to make.
Yeah, it's.
You know what?
And it's clearly an admission of guilt. I mean, how do you know? I mean, of course, in the mind of the people that him and those that support him, it would never be an admission of guilt. But I mean, in legal policy and every other thinking human being, it's an admission of guilt to do something like that. How can it not be?
Yeah.
If you want to be transparent is you just sit by the side of the fucking road, let the investigation go, let people look at your shitty finances. Hey, guess what, dickface? We all already know you're a shitty businessman. Mm-hmm. Okay, unless there's some really scandalous shit behind there, all we're going to see is what we already know, and that you aren't this gifted creator or builder or whatever this other bullshit. It's all marketing, and I'll tell you that, you're a great marketer. Never deny that.
No,
Never.
You can't deny that. No. Sorry, I'm just trying to multitask here.
You're not good at that at all. So what are you looking at?
Well, I'm trying to bring up the actual live feed in case there's somebody commenting.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And so I need you to fill for a second here. So, okay.
All right. Well, then let's go into the other part of this, which is becoming also more damning, is the Sessions portion of it. So not only is he, I can pardon everybody. I'm disappointed, and I can't believe I hired Jeff Sessions. I'm like, you mean the guy who actually supported you from day one? Like, this dude had some serious clout as a Republican. And because he did the right thing, which is recuse himself from that whole investigation because he was way too close to it. And clearly he also took a meeting to discuss the campaign with a Russian.
Mm-hmm. And there's more to the...
And then when he said he didn't, explicitly said he did not.
Yeah.
I mean, good God.
And they keep saying, stop investigating, but every time they turn over a rock, like...
it becomes worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a new person in the room. Oh, yeah, well, actually, there's actually 8 fucking people in the room.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no, but you can't...
And one of the guys actually had close ties to Russian intelligence. Oops. Oh, I guess you should have just went with the hot lawyer thing. And we wouldn't have cared who else was in the room. We've all been focusing on the hot lawyer, too.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm going to get a call from the White House that I need to be the new communications director. Oh, could you help us focus on the hot angle thing, the hot chick angle?
That would have been great. All right, let's move on to our next topic. What do we got lined up next there?
Well, there's anything else in politics that you were interested in speaking on?
Oh, there's no. We can go all day about politics.
Oh, you know what? The other thing. Oh, yeah, there was one more thing with Jeff Sessions.
Yeah, my buddy.
And because the other thing that came out, which is I think would have been major news if it wasn't for all this. It was major news for like half an hour. Well, they busted the next Silk Road. So the next online, big dark market online drug emporium.
All right, the darknet, yeah.
Yeah, and this one, Silk Road was high profile because it was the first one that went down. But this one supposedly was even bigger as far as scale and money, right? And the Justice Department announced it and they brought it down. To me, no big deal. There'll be another one, right? And that was the main conversation in the NPR. Like, yeah, there'll just be somebody else.
Right.
And but what was funny, or not funny, tragic, I think is a better way to put it, is so they have the acting director of the FBI. He had a little quote, something to the effect of, "And we will chase these criminals down to the ends of the earth." Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the next one just pop up, and I'll go buy from him.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was the same tired cliche. Like your message doesn't change, and your solution never works.
No.
Right.
It's whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
With these guys. And
they act like that they've done something, that they've like somehow solved some great societal issue.
If you think about it from a larger societal point of view, if you're running a society, like if you're an actual president or appointed by the president to review types of things, you'd realize that if you analyze criminal behavior, at least what's currently criminal, like what they're doing on the dark net, whatever, it's going to tell you a lot about your population, about what they're going to do, what they're willing to do with regulations and rules and not. And so you think that you could make better choices about how to deal with it than to just simply start a war on drugs or let's go after the pot growers. Let's go after. It's like there's just absolutely no, causation and correlation with what they just they spin their wheels, and yeah, they got those guys, but like you said, they're just going to pop up again and again and again. And sometimes it's better to deal with the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Right.
And understand, listen, people are going to do what they do on the dark net. Now, if they're committing crimes and you want to go catch the people that are actually doing something criminal, that's,
human trafficking.
Human trafficking.
Yes, stop that.
Yeah, exactly. We only have a finite number of dollars. We've been told that, in every which way.
Apparently not. The DEA's
but we can
budget's fucking sickening.
Exactly, but who cares? I mean, that's not my
I care. I actually go to education.
No, but what they're chasing after.
Oh, yes.
If somebody wants to go on the dark net and buy, I think what that website was mostly like
drugs,
opiates and stuff, right? Like
drugs.
buying prescription
anything
drugs.
You wanted.
Yeah, whatever kind of drugs you wanted to get.
Anything, heroin, anything.
Whatever. So
it shouldn't matter. It should not fucking matter.
Yeah. So,
I mean, with the opium, it's so absurd. With the opioid epidemic going on in this country right now, to sit down and have a conversation about illegal drugs. What about the fucking legal? You don't even put a cat. You're doing such a bad job even managing the quote unquote legal drugs.
Right.
To think that you could actually manage and subserviate the illegal market. Come on. It's absurd.
It really is, and it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
And like you said, that there's still
the one you regulate, you can't even control.
We talked about this the other week, like like the whole, the drug lords in Mexico and Colombia and all that. Well, all the drugs are pouring into the U.S. We're the buyers.
Yeah. Hello.
So
going down to Colombia doesn't stop a goddamn thing. Okay, great. Close down the one in Colombia. Guess what? The one in Uruguay or wherever, Peru. Somebody else is going to grow the shit.
Right. And there just has to be better
ways. You know what
ways.
the third world is? It's shitty.
It is. It's really bad.
And you offer thousands of dollars to somebody?
It is funny how when you follow the money, you can get to a lot of problems, solutions, or at least the cores of them.
Right.
So instead of treating the symptoms, which we love to do and feel good and get on the news and pound our chest or whatever.
Well, those symptoms usually involve somebody with brown skin.
Well, yeah, that
makes it easier.
It makes, because it's funny.
Honkies don't do anything wrong.
You ever notice how they call it white collar crime? And how come the guy in the white collar also happens to be a white guy? It's just sort of the magic. Things that make you go, I heard that last night too at my little show.
Let's not bring that up.
Why not? I love the 90s. TLC opening, headliner. But there was no L, just T and C. They rocked it. Chili looked great. So did T-Boz. They all look good.
I still can't believe you know their names.
Well, you should know who Chili is at the very least. Okay. So we're talking about the drugs and the fact that Jeff Sessions going after.
So he had a little win this week. We just got squashed, but then when it came out that he clearly had a discussion relating to the campaign prior to the election with a Russian official.
Oh yeah,
which is big time. Which he lied about. He said he didn't do that, and he did it.
Yeah, that whole thing with the Russia thing is, people are like, oh, there's no evidence. If there was evidence, he would have, no. When he's ready,
he's a lying sack of shit, just like every politician. And I'm saying this, red and blue, both sides.
You think Mueller is, or you think?
No. I mean, I see there's lying Democrats as well as there are lying Republicans.
Of course.
Because Sessions was a senator, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't misunderstand that this show is in any way supporting the Democratic Party.
Negative.
That's absolutely negative.
Negative.
We're supporting philosophical ideas, science, thought, and exchange of ideas with our conservative friends, because a lot of what we're saying right now is hoping that we pop a little bubble of conservative friends that can well, hold on, let's look at it from another point of view. There's no way as supporting Democrats who will turn around and just lie and play the same games, maybe in a different way because they have a different base. I think that's the bigger difference, is that
well, they just lie differently. There's a different. I mean, we can get into that. I thought about that today. I mean, there was a good thing that I read. There's this very left progressive wing radio show or internet. I think what do you call it? A podcast like our own here, probably way more better. But anyway,
way more better.
And they were talking about this. They were even getting talked about it. It was in the Post. I think it was in the Post. I actually have the article right here. Hold on.
Washington Post.
And they deride the Clintons, who obviously have been the stewards of the party for the last 15 years, right, for making the party this centrist, dogma.
Oh,
and
right.
Very, very light on progressive ideals, and not giving anything to labor, not giving, but using that power base, but you still having very centric policies that didn't necessarily support the working class base that they have.
Right.
Yeah.
So here, what's interesting about that?
Trap House. These are these guys.
I'd love to. Getting further into that, what happens is if Democrats, if Clinton, back in '92, and up to 2000 in his presidency when he had the pulpit, and he pulled the party to the center
big time. I mean, he got rid of Grant Stiegel. I mean, he signed that fucking legislation.
Yeah, Glass-Steagall going away was well, even at the time they're like 10 years from now we're going to be revisiting this problem, and we all know what happened. But what's interesting is what happened is it's sort of like, imagine you got magnets. Remember when you're in school and you had magnets, and if you put
he reformed welfare. I mean, he made it harder. He made it hard to get on welfare.
Yeah, the whole workfare program.
Yeah.
And he did.
Not that I disagree with that.
He
I'm
did
just
couple.
saying he did things that wouldn't normally.
He did couple with the the Republican Congress to create a balanced budget.
Yeah,
which
2
was
years
like,
in a row.
Was one of the times I thought, man, this
surplus.
It's because that was when I was first really getting into politics. Was that '92 election was when I first really was like, okay, let me.
Right.
I really got into it. Me and my buddy Lionel from college. And we used to talk about politics all the time, and we were just getting into it and dipping our feet. And I was just learning about how amazing, how screwed up it was. But here's what I was getting at. So as he moved the party to the center, right?
Yeah.
The opposition party, it's almost like when we were in school. Remember we have magnets, and they would say,
okay, they move farther right. That was the whole goal.
Well, the thing is, you put south and south together, they repel. Right. You put north south, they connect. Well, it was like there's this repelling. So it pushed everything. Instead of us coming together as a country and saying, hey, let's all meet in the middle and do things, the opposition started screaming right.
Right. Well, that was the whole Roger Ayers purpose. Like, they wanted to move the conversation farther to the right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they've effectively done that. Like, extremely.
They didn't want to center it. They didn't want to come together. It was not their goal. They wanted to move everything farther to the right.
And that's why politics is the way it is. It's a dirty, backroom, knife fight kind of a game. And I think when people get, the Democrats lie, the Republicans lie. Well, no, that's the game, man. And it doesn't matter. You can go back to the Greeks and the Romans and any democratic proletarian type
say what they
government
want to
ever.
Get power. Yeah.
They will manipulate, and the means justifies the ends in politics. And anything you say can and will be used against you. And now that you have all this media, you're seeing what politics really looks like. And everyone's like, oh my God, the country's just falling apart. I don't know, man. I think this is the way it's always been. But we go through phases. There's this.
Well, I think it's always been that, but we've always been able to get stuff done while people disagreed.
Because the back room didn't have camera anymore. Now it does.
You know what I'm saying? But that's
Yeah.
part of the problem. Like all this vitriol and this this crazy extremism, and it wasn't quite. I don't think this bad because things still got done. Right, roads got built, bills got passed.
This is true. I mean, Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill used to have drink, and they figured out.
Right, right. So everybody has what they want, and everyone realizes that they're not going to get all of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to have to give up something.
And now
to get
compromise has become weakness, and it become
yes.
So
I'm going to shut down the government. I am so ideologically opposed to who and what you represent that I will completely bring the entire government to a complete screeching halt.
Right.
To prove that I'm right and you're wrong.
And then blame you.
Yeah.
And then, I remember that happened, man, and they had to close the national parks. And then it was the Republican congressman storming out to the park because they wouldn't let veterans see the wall or something like that. And it was like, you guys are directly responsible for shutting it down.
Yeah.
And now you have your chest out, pumped, and going out. Now, of course, if you're on the other side, you say that Obama was the one that, but you gave the guy, Sophie's choice. Either, you need to either include this with your spending bill or we're shutting the government down. He's like, well, how about you just, it was a debt ceiling thing.
Yeah.
Why don't you just pass the debt ceiling like we've done 15, 20, 30 times?
Right.
And let it go because
that's like 17 times or something during the Bush administration.
Yeah. Basically we maxed out the credit card and everybody knows it and you have to pay up. And when they started attaching political requirements with it, I don't agree with that policy at all. Well, you better sign it or we're going to shut the government down. Right. Oh, it's your fault you shut the government down. That's pretty much the scenario. And I think the American people and the general public kind of went, yeah, that's kind of what it is. But there's still those like, no, it was Obama. I had a guy I knew who was an ex-Marine, and he was ready to kill because Obama shut down the park and wouldn't let veterans in. He's going ballistic. And I'm like, dude, I understand why you're angry, but why are you angry at him?
Right.
Because he's a fucking Muslim, the whole.
Well, what do they do now without their boogeyman?
I don't know. But
that's the problem. They can't like the biggest evil that the boogeyman could produce.
Well, the problem
was Obamacare, and they now can't get rid of it.
It's very easy to be against things.
Right.
It's very hard to be for things.
But that was the end of the American economy. That was every American. We were going to be.
Well, now they're doing something, and this is
death panels.
They're
medical apocalypse.
They're undermining Obamacare incrementally. They're letting little things happen that could easily be, basically rectified. Any bill like that size always has to go through, some reform. It's nowhere near perfect. So, but every time they see a little flaw that they could probably just fix, it's a little, if we tweak here, tweak there, it'll really help.
Well, that's what everyone's saying.
They won't
now.
do any
just
of that
tweak
stuff
it
because they want it to fail. So they're letting. Now, what happens at the end of the day? American people suffer.
Yeah, people lose their insurance. Why? And everyone will know why because they're not doing anything.
Right. Well, they're not
doing
fixing
anything.
They're not helping.
They're not repealing it.
So what is wrong with it is
and
it's going to get worse.
Replacing it with something.
Yeah.
The best bill on the best healthcare bill ever. Everyone will be covered. Everyone. It'll be the best bill that we've ever passed.
It's great. It's over. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? That's enough politics for today. We'll come back to it tomorrow. There's plenty more, but I think we should get into some more social stuff. Like, let's talk a little bit about this this dating online in the 21st century.
Yeah,
the world of dating. Now, as a married man who hasn't been in the dating market for
you're a lucky son of a bitch. Not really. I wouldn't say that. You're married. I'm just kidding. Your wife is great. I'm kidding.
I know but we have no concept of this. I've never dated in the electronic world where you can use an app or whatever.
Well, it's bizarre. It's changed. I've been out of it for 4 years. This is the last time I did it seriously. Mm-hmm. And even since then, it's changed dramatically on how you communicate with people, expectations you can have or shouldn't have. That's the bottom line. You really should have absolutely zero expectations of someone treating you like a human being until you're actually like physically together. Mm-hmm. Up until that point, anything can go. Anything can happen. So that's the one factor. But the and the part that I wanted to focus in on, unless there was something you wanted to focus in on, Jim.
No, I want to hear what you have to say about it, and then I want to sort of judge you from afar.
Well, it's I feel like the throwaway culture has infected itself now into very much into the social way we interact, and the online dating, particularly the online dating app, helps facilitate that. The whole concept of swiping left, right, on the app means like obviously you're done with that person, right? That's what that for you older fellers out there.
I didn't know which way.
Swiping left, yeah.
I guess swiping right would make more sense. They're right for me, and left is they're wrong. So
yeah, I think that's how it goes. Whatever, they swipe.
They swipe one way or the other.
Yeah, to deny that person access to their person, right? So, and that even when on the things where you're talking to someone online, where it's not swiping like it is on an app, it's very much like that. Like it's this instantaneous end or beginning,
right?
It's not. There's not any real growth of the interaction, right? It's always this kind of transient thing that's happening to you with this person, right? And at any time, for no real reason or fault of your own, it can just be done. Swipe left. Like you're thrown away.
Yeah.
Poof.
You get ghosted, I heard.
Yes.
That's the term.
There's that. Not that I haven't done that before, because I have.
We did that back in our day, too. We just,
I did.
It involved like avoidance and,
yes.
just
it's not something that's new.
Just never showing up at the same place that
right.
you might see them for a while, or
right.
slipping it to a friend, or, whatever. So people ghosted back then because they,
right.
we're spineless. What are you going to do?
Right. But yes.
But see, let me cast this out to you from the married world, who's not, to me, and to many of us who, are no longer in that world. We look at that and say, man, when I was young, if I could get like hundreds and hundreds of women on one location that you could just go after, like, oh, she's cute. Like, it's like seeing a picture in a magazine going, oh, she's hot, let me talk to her. And you just click on it and you go.
Yeah.
And so you got contact.
Right.
You're like, before
yeah.
I had to happen to run into somebody at usually a bar, or maybe you met through friends or whatever, at a party or something like that. It was so random, and there was just so less, so fewer options to choose from. Now, granted, each contact involved you having to break the ice, meet them. There was this whole thing, and that was the hardest part, was opening that first door.
Yep.
People, that's, I think it's one of the reasons so much. You got to have a few drinks to lower your inhibitions, and then you can waltz up. And a lot of people would be so sloppy drunk by the time they got up there.
Well, hopefully you didn't get to that. It was that was the goal.
If you were successful, you didn't. You weren't there. You were, But still, it was a much bigger challenge. Now you're like, listen, I have all night. I can type up this one message, and then I can start a communication with somebody. Now, of course, it's a much thinner communication, and they can just get rid of you in a heartbeat. But hey, at least you're in the game with all kinds of girls and all kinds of, different personalities. You can learn something about them, and you can really direct. I mean, obviously, not having done it.
Right.
Well, I did do it once, and it was a very bad experience. It was actually interesting because we had a ton of communication, but what we had was pictures that were no longer, let's call them
relevant,
recent.
That happens a lot too.
Yeah, well, that was the whole.
Not uncommon.
I didn't even know what it was called, but
on both sides,
I got catfished. I didn't know that.
Yes, that's
and it was really tough because I put a lot of energy into that thing.
Now, we're getting to the root of the whole situation.
All right,
energy. See, all those things you described.
Yeah.
Right, now, think about those interactions that you did do back in the day when you were dating, and the energy you needed to put into all that, making all those things happen. To the point. As a tall, good-looking dudes, really in the scale, we really didn't have to put that much energy in. Let's just be honest. But you still had to.
No, you still had to do the work.
You still had to do the work. Yeah. And now, remember, you invested yourself into it, right? Yeah. And you cared essentially at some point, right? And you expected something back, right? Well, the same kind of thing happens though when you're online and when you're doing the online thing. Especially now, this is all to the point where you're actually physically meeting somebody. Right? Up to that point, but you can't really have a connection with somebody. Right,
you can have a fake online connection, which is
it's
very
not
shallow.
But it's not the same. But I mean, even with each one of those interactions, energy has to go into that, right?
Yeah.
And then you're also getting back energy back, right? And you're talking to these people, and just because you hit on a good thing there, just because it's in their profile, doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they are.
Right.
Right. And then I had for instance, one of the worst dates ever when and none of this ever came out. We talked on the phone twice too, because I always like to talk to them on the phone to get a really good pulse of who they are, if they can actually have a phone conversation. right?
Yeah.
And that's another outdated modality. Like, they don't want to talk to you. They just want to text.
Yeah.
Right? And
Right.
I'm just not, no. I don't mind texting. I like to text. But it's at the point when I want to have a conversation, I want to have a fucking conversation. Especially in the beginning. I don't know you well enough to be sending fucking fun little text messages back and forth. Like, you and I know each other very well. So that, that we can do that kind of thing. Right? And you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
I can read.
Yeah. You can read the context in the words.
Yeah.
Right?
I can read between the lines. I know what you mean when you say
exactly.
it.
And that's because you've built a relationship with somebody.
Right.
Like, the same kind of thing, in my opinion, has to happen to have real communication with anyone with texting. Like, you have to build a relationship with them, and then you can go to that medium for more than just, hey, I'm at the bar.
Right.
Right? Or, hey, how about we go to the restaurant or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, those kind of, service level conversations. But anything beyond that, you need to actually physically talk to somebody.
Right.
To get their vibe. Right? So that part is more difficult. Most girls now don't really want to speak to you. Or at least in the time I've been doing, I'm just kind of in it. Beginning stages again.
Right. Yeah. It's been a few years since you've been in it. I don't know, because your reaction was vitriol. It's like I was watching Ryan Rosilio on ESPN, and he had a new friend who was getting divorced or something like that, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm getting into online dating," and he's single.
Right.
And he's a sportscaster on ESPN radio, and so he's got a lot of cred. And he's like, "Yeah, dude, it's Sodom and Gomorrah out there. It's just insane."
Right. It is.
It's because it's off the hook out there in this little internet world, because people have all these different agendas, and now they're like, "Well, I just want to be single. I'm just going to use it as a hookup app." Or some people want relationships.
Right.
And you got to sort through all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, with me, my one experience why I never did it again was because I had devoted. I mean, I was out of town. I couldn't see this girl. I'd seen her picture on I don't know, maybe Match.com. I don't know, whichever one was around. This is like right after 2000. It was still kind of like a stigma attached to it. Like, you weren't really supposed to meet people online.
Right.
The stigma's gone.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's like,
absolutely, it's gone.
Why wouldn't I do this? It just adds more fish to the
Yeah.
Anyway, so this girl, she was attractive. She was my type. And I had my pictures up there and my bio and, her bio. I get on the phone, start talking to her, and, we had great conversations.
Right.
And I was really da-da-da-da-da-da. And I get there, and she's at least 10 years older than her picture described, and significantly different body type.
Of course, 10 years will do that.
And she's like, "Well, who the hell are you? You're not so..." I'm like, "Hey, my pictures were honest. They were me. They were recent. You knew what you were getting into."
Yeah.
I am shocked sitting here. I mean, I was very honest with her. I'm like,
Right.
I'm sitting here shocked.
Yeah.
Because you look completely different than I had in my mind.
Right.
And it's obviously, and she's like, "Wow, that's really hurtful." I said, "Because you think because I'm just a little overweight that I'm not good." No. It isn't where you are. It's the fact that you started off this entire relationship on a lie.
Yeah.
Like
you were being deceitful from the get-go.
You were deceitful from the get-go. You led me down a road believing you were one person, and I find out you're somebody else. I said, "Do yourself a favor. Put your real picture on there if you're going to keep doing this."
Right.
So when somebody shows up, they know exactly who they're meeting.
Right.
Not, you should do everything you can to be
right, completely transparent.
And so I checked back like a month later, and of course she says the same picture, the same bio up there, and I'm like, you know what, this is
there's
insane.
Some serious issues there.
And then I was lucky, and then I met my wife the old-fashioned way. Our parents introduced us, so talk about old-fashioned. It's a sweet story. It's not a very manly story. It's definitely a knock.
Why? So what?
It's sweet. Because nobody wants to admit that their mom set them up. That's just especially when I was like 36. So
yeah. So let's talk about the Bears. We got the preseason outlook. So
yeah, they're coming here to Arizona.
They are.
April
Maybe
19th.
we should go to that game, I guess. Preseason games suck. You ever been to one?
Yeah. It's just more fun to be at the stadium kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm actually not down to sit 6 hours between them. By the time you watch the game, get it out.
It's hot.
And it's hot. And you have to walk to you're going to park like a mile away and walk up in there in heat. No, so I'd rather watch it on TV. Besides, it's only the first half of the game that's even worth watching. It's the third game I think it's our third preseason game, so it might be decent.
That's the game to watch, actually.
It's the game to watch.
See how bad they're really going to be.
So what do you think of the Bears? Let's go.
I was going to ask you, have you looked at any preseason?
I have not.
Training camp started, by the way. I don't know if you realize that or not.
Yeah. They
for rookies anyway.
They've been obviously had the what do they call them? Optional training
OTAs.
OTAs, yeah. And they've had a lot of that going on, and they've been posting stuff online. Personally, I've been spending a lot more time watching the Cubs because after the Trubisky pick,
we're not leaving the Bears.
I'm not going anywhere. I just haven't taken the time to invest in it. I think it's because I'm a little tired because of fantasy football and all the years we've been doing it. And it's like
really
I got a lot of
down.
homework to do, and I'm just not ready to do that homework. It's like you got a term paper due. And
So you've read nothing about the Bears, is what you're telling me?
yeah, I'm looking for you to supply.
I will. I was going to say, like, here's we'll do a quick synopsis when we talk about your goddamn Cubs. So, that number one, I think the defense is going to be pretty solid. So, like, their front seven is going to be pretty. As long as Trevathan comes back healthy, they're going to have a really good front seven. I think Floyd's going to really take a next step as long as he puts on some bulk, which supposedly he has. So that'll be good. So it'll help his durability. So that Floyd, they still got Willie Young coming out the other corner, and then hopefully McPhee can stay healthy. And they got the two big, Goldman still coming back. They got Akeem Hicks was awesome coming back, and they got some good young guys, and they got that dude they picked up from the Chiefs, who just kind of had a down year, but it was pretty good. Kind of a risk because he had injuries, but he could turn out to be pretty awesome because he was like a frontline star. So front seven look pretty good.
Okay.
Linebacker wise, the other question, and I've seen this, and I think this is where I'm getting disgusted with sports media. Is everyone's is there a quarterback situation in Chicago? No, there's not a quarterback. The kid needs to sit. Oh, he's going to be starting by the end. No, he's not. No, they paid Glenn the play this year. Essentially, is what they gave him that money for. Guaranteed to be a starter this year, as he should be. This kid only played 16 fucking games in college. He does not have the pedigree, resume, or experience yet.
And who do you play for, North Carolina?
Yeah, in every big game, he fucking sucked. So let the kid mature a little bit. Glennon, I'm fine with him learning behind Glennon. The kid, I think is going to be a more than serviceable quarterback as long as he gets some blocking.
Yeah, they
already got a really good run game with Howard, right? And they got these they picked up this tight end Sims, and a big solid tight end. They got the other big kid. He at least better be able to fucking block this kid from the Division II. God damn it, he's 6'7" or whatever it is. I don't give a shit if he can catch a pass. I want some good run blocking before he catches a pass. But anyway, so now the receivers, that's a little big question mark. But everybody else in there, so they should be able to give the kid a good running game, which is always important for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. So I think Glennon's going to be decent this year. Right. He's not going to lose games for him, in my opinion. But you put Trubisky in there, he's going to lose games. You know what I mean? I think they could be. If the defense is a top 10 defense, which it has. If the corners come around, they have the ability to be that. Right now, it's a big if.
I was going to say, well, it's a big jump.
That's a big if. But if that's the case, and they run the ball well, Glennon doesn't turn the ball over, they can be a playoff team. While they're still developing all the young guys.
Have you seen their schedule?
I said big if.
It's a big if.
Yeah.
They don't play a team that either wasn't in the playoffs or had a winning record.
They always have a tough schedule. They have a tough,
but they don't even have
Vikings are good.
They don't have a layup.
Packers are good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of teams that are in the
four
bottom
teams
half
right, four
of the
games.
NFL, and none of them Chicago doesn't see any of them until.
And they were bad. They were fucking won 3 games last year, or whatever, 3-13 or some shit like that when they were last year.
I think they were a little better. I think they were 5-11.
5-11.
Yeah, but
whatever. It was fucking terrible.
This is where we need our
Here,
fact checker.
I can look at
We
right
need a
here.
production
I got
staff.
the damn internet open.
Okay,
Standings.
you can multitask. See, I can't. I'm still looking for messages.
But yeah, so I agree. A lot of those things that have to. Now, why did I go? There it is.
We have another watcher. Hey, who's out there? It's probably Mensa.
The Bears were officially, yeah, I was right. They were 3-13 last year. How does a team 3-13 have a playoff-bound record?
I know.
They're playing? Well, they play New Orleans, and New Orleans is. Let's look at their schedule. 3-13. God, it was a bad year. I don't know if I'm ready for that again.
Why don't I think they won 5?
They can't win 8 games. I just don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, they're Atlanta, Tampa, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, Minnesota, Baltimore. They're not winning a game until probably November, it looks like.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you said playoff team.
Oh, my God. This is a joke. How does the 3-13 team get this schedule?
I don't know.
They're in Baltimore. Well, Baltimore's not that solid anymore. So, damn. That is a tough schedule. I mean, they might not win until they play Detroit November 19th.
And that's not There's no.
Yeah, Detroit actually on paper a lot better than the Bears. They got Matt Stafford.
You're talking about a top 10 defense. I think right now in the NFL, we're the layup.
Well, on this schedule.
Yeah. Look at that schedule. We're the layup.
Fuck.
All right.
Let's not talk about the Bears anymore. So, all right, let's just get to your next.
Tim Tebow.
Oh, Jesus.
I know you didn't want to talk about Tim Tebow. He's been giving me shit about this.
Fine.
Tim
Tebow. Talk about this dick.
Okay, and then we can jump to science stuff. We'll skip the Cubs. The Cubs are doing great.
No, let's go to the Cubs first. I'd rather talk about the Cubs. So we went to talk about the Cubs. So, go. Cubs update, Jim.
Cubs update. Well, obviously they came out of the All-Star break super hot, went 6-0, lost one.
Do you want to talk about Quintana's first start?
Quintana, 12. Yeah, we talked about him last week about what a big pickup he was. I said what's what we needed. Look what he did. He goes out there and he had 12 Ks. He set the season record so far for strikeouts.
Here's what I would like to do. Continue on.
And the whole team looks great. They're hitting like a ton, whatever. They had they've lost one game now. They're actually playing a rubber game with St. Louis tonight, and it's actually getting pretty close to wrapping up. I don't know what the score of that game is, but I'll tell you that ironically, the only game they lost so far, depending on what happens tonight, the bullpen, which was the only thing for the first half of the season that was relatively like stable and solid, gave up 9 runs in the 8th inning. And we lost 11-4 after beautiful pitching by Arrieta. Like we were up 3-2 going into the 8th, bases loaded, nobody out, and everybody, like the first 9 guys that came to the plate, scored. That inning. It was awful. Which ironic though, because it was the bullpen, which always has been solid.
Right.
So we're feeling good.
Here's the question I have for you.
What's that?
Who did they play out of the All-Star break, Jim?
They played the Baltimore Orioles.
Who are what? Shitty. Let me fill that in for you. Shitty. One of the worst. 5.4 some shitty ERA is their pitching staff.
Right, but I understand that. But they the pitching did really well, and Baltimore has an excellent offensive team.
I'm just saying,
strong line,
and they have a losing record. They're not a playoff team. They should absolutely kick the shit out of this team. Is my point.
Well, but they haven't been kicking the shit out of this team. They're supposed to.
Who did they play after Baltimore, Jim?
Atlanta.
And does Atlanta have a winning record?
No,
they don't, Jim. See where I'm going with this? Okay. And let's look at what their team ERA is, shall we? Yes, we shall.
We shall. What's going on?
And then who's next after that? Who are they playing currently right now?
They're currently playing St. Louis right now.
And what about St. Louis?
St. Louis is in.
Has what kind of a record?
I believe they're
losing record.
They're very close to 500. they're in this National League.
Another team in the ERA of 4. This team is 4.6. It's not quite as bad as Baltimore.
Yeah, they still got swept.
Yeah, they can hit 263 fifth inning. So that at least that, but they have a losing record, of course, because you can't pitch in baseball these days. You will definitely not win.
Mm-hmm. And now we are in the rubber game against St. Louis right now. Right now, do you have the updated score?
Yeah, I can tell you what the score is.
I think it's might be 5-3 St. Louis.
It is.
Why aren't the Cubs the first team on your page? Why do you have to scroll so far down? See, on my page,
5-3, they won.
Oh, the Cubs won. Look at that. They won. So they've won 3 series
against a
division rival. Dude, these games are intense.
Record? Let's see. Division rival.
Well, it's a little bit lower.
Oh, wow. St. Louis 4 games under 500. Wow. So is that a playoff team? No, I don't think so. They played 3 series against really shitty teams. And
I wouldn't call any of them really shitty.
None of them are 500.
They're solid.
Come on, they're not one of those teams that played at 500. I'm just saying, none of those teams are playoff teams, and they're not even 500. So, and Baltimore does have one of the worst pitching staffs in baseball.
Maybe, but they have great offense, and the fact that the Cubs pitching showed up. So you have to look at the right things. You're looking at all the wrong things.
I don't know. I think it's kind of the opposite.
You got to look at the matchups, and you got to look at how well they do in certain areas. Our problem has been starting pitching. And our starting pitching is what has been excellent for the last week and a half here. And we didn't have that. And we're still hunting for another one. And we got Kyle Hendricks coming back. So things are looking up for the mighty Chicago Cubs.
See when they play somebody.
We'll see when they play Well, they're playing They're playing the White Sox soon. What
Sox gave up on everybody. They traded everybody. They traded Quintana.
What's the White Sox record right now?
It's probably one of the worst in baseball.
That's probably the best part of the broadcast. Oh, look at there. Look all the way down at the bottom there.
They have the worst record in the American
League. They're worse than
now.
Detroit.
Detroit's a good team, or was a good team. They owned the division for a long time. Yeah, the White Sox are definitely in the rebuilding phase, Jim. Mm-hmm. By that trade, where we took the fifth best prospect in professional baseball, that one.
Which trade was that?
For Quintana.
Right. I mean, because all the best prospects were already up in our major league club, but don't worry about it.
We had one of them. We got him. The one you did have, we took it.
I'm sure he'll be the one that makes
now.
Yeah, he'll turn the corner. Now you're going to turn the corner.
No, he's not even going to play yet. I mean, this year's finished. This year was never. This year was always a rebuilding.
They'll bring him up
year.
for the expansion in September, right?
And plus, I don't really care. It's more fun because you care about the Cubs. I don't really care what the White Sox suck.
So, Tim Tebow's not that interesting of a topic. Bottom line is, I think he's. I'm interested to see if the Mets bring him up in September as because he's a ticket whore, or they're going to bring up an actual prospect that potentially could play.
How does he play to the New York people? He's a little Jesus freak douchebag.
Yeah, but he's such a nice guy that nobody can not like him.
That's not a New Yorkie type person.
He's not a New Yorkie type person, but he's one of those people
the
that
Mets.
There's nobody. I have not seen one report of anybody who has met the guy who's out there said he's a solid dude. He's a solid individual.
Yeah.
So he's. You know what? As much as you rag on religion and Christians and the ones that are the hypocrites, he's the one that's actually walking the walk.
I'm not saying. I'm saying the aggressive pulpit.
I'm just trying to give credit where credit is due.
I'm not saying that he's. I don't have a problem with him being Christian.
Ron Dibble fits in New York better than, and he hated everybody in New York. If you remember, Ron Dibble's the one. I know
Ron Dibble is.
I know you do. I'm just for our audience. If you remember, Ron Dibble was the pitcher who basically insulted every race of person in New York City. Because I walked down Manhattan, I can't remember what the exact quote was, but it was.
Are you thinking of that guy from Atlanta, John Rocker?
Oh, did I screw up?
Ron Dibble was much older. He played for the Reds.
At my age, it all blends together.
Thinking of John Rocker.
I know who John Rocker is, and John Rocker, I think you're right. He's the one that said that. I'm mixing those two guys up in my head. This is what happens.
Good thing I'm here. Jesus Christ.
Well, I need fact checkers. I'm just saying. I was close. John Rocker, Ron Dibble,
No.
angry pitchers.
Ron Dibble was much. I mean, what he was a douchebag. He was a much classier act than John Rocker. Sorry. I mean, I liked Ron Dibble when I was a kid because I liked that Reds team.
My apologies to you, Ron. I didn't mean to associate you with John Rocker's racist rant about New Yorkers.
Yeah,
but it made for good radio, right? Maybe.
Sure.
All right, so we're kind of out of time by about 8 minutes right now, and we still have sciencey stuff on the board. And this is a great topic, so I want to actually table this for next week.
All right,
because I want to talk about this. You want to introduce it for the folks for next week? That we'll kick off with this.
Sure,
and we'll dive into this. This is good stuff.
So it's the whole concept of morphic resonance, and just to put it in real basic terms, it's the whole idea of universal consciousness, of shared memory through universal consciousness. More it's kind of species specific when it's in the morphic resonance thing, but it's the general idea of universal consciousness.
Yeah. So essentially, we're all connected in a way that science is beginning to track, and not just us like humans, but us other animals.
Right.
Learn behaviors that seem to translate beyond the physical body.
Yeah.
And how we're interconnected. And there's a lot of ways in the universe that we're interconnected. So we're talking a little bit about that. It's a really interesting concept.
Yes.
It
is definitely fringe science for all you serious 3 people that might be listening.
It is definitely fringe science. This is not a proven theory at all.
But it's becoming more clinically proven. Well, there's no way there's no good things to properly explain it, which is the problem in the material science with this whole theory.
Right.
So,
in other words, it's a hypothesis that can't be proven, but
it is being proven daily, but no one wants to admit
it can't be proven currently. Yeah. It hasn't been proven currently.
Well, yeah, it's a nebulous thing to talk about, universal consciousness.
But that's where real science is. I mean, pure science is happening on the edge of knowledge.
The guys who this
theory
is,
they don't know
that's
which
his whole
molecule
point.
is going to cure your disease. Yeah. So we try 10,000, but we use. And this is where getting back to a lot of the conversations you see on like Facebook and whatever about science and things like that is they seem to miss out that science is the one that tries it all, man.
Right.
And we know that a lot of this is going to fail. Oh, you had that wrong. Well, I can't just guess it right out of the gate. I figure this out through testing and trial and retesting.
Right.
And you taking the same information and testing it over there.
Yeah.
And coming up with either the same or a different result. And that's
launching monkeys in space.
How science works.
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody, this has been the DammitJim Show. This has been episode number 3. We appreciate you listening. Any comments, questions, or anything else you have, please shoot us an email.
Keep them to yourself.
Keep them to yourself.
Just kidding. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, everybody, have a good one, and bye-bye. I should probably do one thing before I say bye-bye, and that would be have the ability to actually stop the show. Say...